Hey everyone, good evening, good evening. This is Balaji on Goddess Talk. How y'all doing?
Hey.
All right, so you're going to put your headphone on.
Oh.
Where's your headphones?
I don't see it. Oh, right here.
Today's a struggle day. This week has been the week of struggle. Look, I'm just ready for this to be over. So tonight we have two wonderful guests. We have Christina Abreu of Blue Sage Boutique, Echo Boutique. Hey, Christina.
Hey.
Just speak to the mic.
Hey.
And we have Miss Katrina Abreu.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. See, I was working. I was like, look, I'm going to try to say it first. And if it's wrong, you correct me. How you doing, Katrina?
I'm doing fabulous.
So, y'all, guess what? I just met Katrina just like a couple days ago. Me and Christina were meeting up at Starbucks. I have never been to Starbucks a day in my life. We got to be closer together.
Oh.
All right. I'll come over to this way then, just to make it easier. Ooh, child. All right. There you just see a boob in the... in the Facebook, you just see a little boob right there, but that's mine. It's protruding. But we were just meeting up at Starbucks. I have never been to Starbucks a day in my life. It was what it was. But we were outside, and I felt like that was the first day that the sun had really come out recently.
It was a beautiful day.
It was a great day. And Katrina happened to be sitting at another table, and we almost witnessed a whole car accident. That baby almost died.
It was a baby.
Yeah, it was a baby. Almost got hit. And then all of a sudden, Katrina started talking to us, and before you knew it, we just called her over, and we were just talking about a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And the conversation went to just, our femininity and the masculinity within all of us. Yeah. But before we get into that, what I want to do is, you see on camera, if you're looking at intouchnews.com, I'm going to show you guys on Facebook and Instagram later, but I have a whole bunch of bottles in front of me, okay? So we have a whole bunch of wine and spirit companies, all black owned. So last week I went to an event held at 7th and Grove, black owned restaurant here in Tampa, Florida. And it was an event featuring, like I said, black owned wine and spirit companies. And I happened to meet at least a couple of the brand owners, and we got a chance to speak. So 2 companies here that I have in front of me were not there, but these are brands that I all own personally at home, okay? So I'm going to go from, this is left to right? Well, sitting, if you're in front of me, this is left, okay? So this is Duke and Dame. All right, so I'm going to pick it up, Duke and Dame. They are based in South Florida. The guy was such a great person to meet. It was really dope. I'm going to be reaching out to all these people when I find some time. But I would love to be a brand ambassador. But another thing was that for my Gods and Angels event, we actually had this wine as well. So I happened to go to Total Wine. Yeah. And I've never been there a day in my life either.
Whiskey.
It's whiskey. Yeah, it is whiskey. It's salted caramel, whichever way how you want to say it. But it tastes really good. I do like it. And I just happened to be there because the only wine or spirit company that I knew of was Uncle Nair's, which I do have in front of me, right? Mm-hmm. But then I happened to be speaking to a black salesperson. I was like, yeah, I'm here for Uncle Nair's. He's like, yeah, it's right over here, because you couldn't really find it. Okay. But I found it. And he was like, oh, have you heard about this other company? I was like, what other company? Because I came in there just to buy a whole bunch of bottles of Uncle Nair's. That's all we were going to drink that day. But he pointed out Duke and Dame. He's like, yo, he's in South Florida, and I was like, yo, dope. Let's get it. So I got a couple bottles, and we finished all this stuff. I had to go and get more. But I happened to meet the owner. I don't have his name right in front of me right now, but I have tagged him in a couple posts on my Facebook and Instagram. But Duke and Dame, okay? Then I have Uncle Nair's, which you guys have been hearing about as well. But Duke and Dame, they've been winning a lot of awards. The top of the shelf right now, okay? So shout out to Duke and Dame. Uncle Nair's, you guys have heard about. All right, and this is Uncle Nair's, who actually taught Jack Daniels how to do whiskey. And there is no animosity between Uncle Nair's family and Jack Daniels. So a lot of people try to make it seem like, which 9 times out of 10 is true, that, someone stole our idea and, went and put their stamp on it, but that wasn't the case. Jack Daniels himself was basically a low-class citizen himself. And Uncle Nair's happened to be a slave of somebody else. So he wasn't Jack Daniel's slave, okay? That's just want to make sure.
Person.
Yeah, enslaved individual, thank you. Because I don't even call us that because I'm like, yeah, we're just people, so it's like whatever. But Uncle Nearest, so Fawn, I can't remember her last name, but I love her. Her name is just losing my mind right now. So I'm mad at myself that my head is just not on its. But this is all the retrograde, y'all. But Fawn, I think her last name might be Weaver. But she met with the family and they decided to try and brew. And here we are with Uncle Nearest, and they've been winning a lot of awards as well. All right, this guy is from St. Pete, Florida.
Oh, what's
The
up?
Red Lady. Okay, so this is a rum punch. When I tell the thing punched me in my throat, this thing took me out. It's 20%. Yo, go ahead and look. We got glasses. Try your glass, girl. We bougie on here today because I decided, because we was talking, it was like, yo, we should just have a girl time where we're just chilling and sipping. So we just chilling and sipping. So cheers to all y'all out here. Cheers.
to all
Cheers. So take that slowly.
This one slowly.
Take it slowly. Let me tell you, that thing had me. But yeah, you should have it chilled. You should usually have it chilled. Where's the cap? And always, I'm not sure if you shook it, but he did say like, yo, make sure you shake it before. But it was in the fridge, so it should be good. It's chilled.
It's good though.
But the Red Lady. All right, shout out to this guy. He's out of St. Petersburg, Florida. He literally made this in college and is doing a great thing. I'm gonna make sure during one of our breaks I just bring up everybody's names so that I can really just give homage to them as well. And then this one was also featured at Gods and Angels. This is Shoe Crazy brand. This woman, her name is Gwen, and she's out of Virginia. All right. So I hit her up like barely a week before Gods and Angels because the other wine company that we were about to have sponsor us, they didn't back out at the last second, but something happened, and we're gonna have them next time. But I called her and I wasn't expecting her to pick up because, you know, they're big people. I'm just thinking they're so important. They can't pick up my call. I left a message and she called me directly. And she was like, how many do you need? I was like, I need this many. She was like, all right, we put the order in tonight. I'm going to have it out there to you. And she sure did. And we had a whole bunch. This is the last bottle I got from Gods and Angels. You know, and I haven't even drank it because we went through all the bottles. When I tell you, Uncle Nearest was almost gone, and Shoe Crazy was literally gone, and Duke and Dane was definitely gone. But, you know, shout out to these brands. This is Goddess Talk. We're always talking about Black-owned businesses and entities, and we have our own wine and spirit companies. And as I find more, I will make sure to bring that to you guys. But another company that was there, I don't have a bottle of theirs right in front of me right now. You commented on it.
It's the Black Girl Magic one.
Yes,
right?
the Black Girl Magic one. By the McClure sisters, I think. Let me double check their name.
After you shared that,
yes.
I like tagged a whole bunch of
yes,
people
yes,
I'm like, oh, ladies.
Yes.
We
And
need to get on.
oh yes. And so it was such a great company, and I happened to meet one of their brand people who goes around the country, and she's the only Black woman doing this specific position in I believe the country. But she is totally dope. But the brand, child, today's just the day. But we're going to be talking about a lot of different things. But in the meantime, Duke and Dame, Uncle Nearest, The Red Lady, and Shoe Crazy. Y'all go ahead and check them out. And it is the McBride sisters.
Okay.
Black Girl Magic, the McBride sisters. So I'm just going to show y'all my other phone real quick, just because I don't have their bottle in front of me. Okay. But I'm going to be getting a couple of these bottles as well. My thing to have in my house, you haven't been to my house, neither have you, but I have a liquor collection. Okay. And I want to make sure that it's basically all Black brands there because I drink a lot of different things, okay? So I have managed to switch out a lot of stuff. I am a Jack Daniels chick, okay? That's been me. So the fact that this is within that realm and I like the brand and everything, Jack is leaving in my house. Okay. The honey might not leave so fast, but you know, Jack is leaving the house. So, but these are all Black brands. All right. So during the break, I'm gonna come back and give you the specific name of the owners, so that you guys are more informed about it. But you know, these are Duke and Dame, Uncle Nearest. You have the Red Lady and Shoe Crazy. Are we already on break? Dang. Okay, so we'll be right back from break. This is Goddess Talk. If you want to call in, you have any questions about these brands or just to talk to us, 13-444-9588. We'll be right back. All right. Let me find these names.
I'm trying to find
Let
for
me
the
get my
red
phone.
lady.
Okay, find that for me. If you go to my Goddess Talk, is it on Goddess Talk? No. Go to my. What, did I delete it?
But
No.
honestly, though, you're giving all information that people can literally
Yeah.
look it up. And you have
Yeah.
the links, probably.
Yeah.
Do you know how many black different
Exist?
brands exist? Yes.
I do not know because there's a brand for vodka. They're out in Cali, and I wasn't able to get them on here because the issue that a lot of us have is distribution.
Distribution.
And trucking companies, and so that's what Afro Organics, my company, does. And so during I'm still talking like I'm talking on thing, but basically during the last week's event, I was able to talk
Hey,
to
y'all.
these individually,
This is me,
and
Christina.
I was like,
Goddess
what about
Talk
distribution?
Radio.
And it was like, if you can help us with that, I'm like, all right, so I'm going to reach out to them so that I want to be their distributor.
Yes.
And there was a couple other companies. I don't know if you know T.I., the rapper.
Yeah.
His wife has a tequila brand, and so her tequila brand was part of the thing that night. I got the card for their dispenser, actually. The guy who works with the dispenser company. Boosie Badass, he's a rapper. He has a vodka,
He does.
and he had 2 flavors. And the strawberry flavor was dope. I actually like the strawberry. I was surprised because this is Boosie. I'm not a Boosie fan like that, but that strawberry was good. All right. And then who else? Trina Braxton has whiskey, I think.
Oh, yeah?
Hey y'all, we are back on Goddess Talk. All right, so my guest said, you know what? You're already giving them all the information. You got Duke and Dame, Uncle Nair's, The Red Lady, and Shoe Crazy. Y'all go find it on social media. You'll find it. But in the meantime, back to my guest. All right. While we were there, we was like, yeah, we should just have a girl moment, girl session, and we just drink and chill. So that's what we're doing today. And we were talking about our femininity and how we are such masculine ass women and how we have come from that to where we are right now.
Right.
So Christina, talk about your company real quick so people get to know you again because you have been here before. It's the
Okay.
second time. But then we'll go over to Katrina and then we'll get to our conversations.
All right, so I am Christina Arenas. I am the creator of Blue Sage Eco Boutique.
I love her candles.
Thank you.
Hey.
And I make soy wax candles,
Mhm.
wellness candles, smudges, and some baths and whatnot
Mhm.
to help you
Just live
just
your life.
connect,
Look.
you know, and be and live,
Mm-hmm.
you know, your higher purpose, your best self, and create sacred moments. Create sacred moments.
Okay. So now Katrina, talk about who you are and what your brand is.
I'm Katrina. I'm just starting with Ibuume Gang, which is also black owned.
Mm-hmm.
It's a MLM kind of marketing, but the owners are Hobbs. I'll get that information because, of course, it just escaped me.
Today's the day, y'all. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But they're actually from Tampa, St. Pete.
Okay.
And it's a technology company. So they started out with travel, where you they kind of do something like Hotwire, or
Mhm.
similar, and
Okay.
then now they're doing Vibe Rides, which
Okay.
is similar to Uber.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So shout out to iBoom.
It's iBoomerang.
iBoomerang. All right. Cool. So once Katrina has that up and running for herself, I will definitely make sure I share that information with y'all. All right. So girl talk. Other than us just being girl bosses. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
We got that out the way. We were like, yo. I felt like I was such a dude. I still am. I still have my tendencies.
I do too, girl.
Look. And we found that was very hard for us to either be in relationships or maintain relationships or even be open to relationships, right? So we understood that we had to kill those ego. Did you have to kill your ego? Or work on your ego?
You know, I feel like she's still there.
She's still there. That ego's still...
But it's like when to keep her a little
We
quiet.
soothe. I soothed her. It was like a self-soothing situation.
Yeah, it's like, calm down. It's
You don't
okay,
have
girl.
to. You don't have to be triggered.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
But Katrina, you mentioned because you really, I felt like your commentary when we were talking was really important because for us who are so used to always doing stuff for ourselves, we find it very hard to let any man come through and try to help us do anything.
Yeah.
Like to ask for help, child,
What is
that is something I
Yeah,
can't get myself to do.
Yeah.
It's still very hard.
Yeah.
So we have somebody we could call on. It could be dad, or it could just be nobody, and we just gonna tough it out by ourselves and be swimming and just like, oh my God, I'm about to drown
Yeah.
before you reach out. So talk about how that is for you.
First of all, I want to pick up on the fact that all of our fathers were active in our lives.
Very,
So
very.
I thought that was interesting after the fact because
Mhm.
I heard you both mention your fathers, and then mine was, it still is
Yeah.
very active for all three of us.
Mhm.
So it's not like we didn't have or like a single parent household
Yes.
where a lot of females do find themselves just being a tad bit more masculine and feminine. So we
That is a
had
narrative
dads.
people try to make that, oh,
Yeah.
because you didn't have your dad, you doing this. It's like, no, I had my dad,
Yeah,
but he put the strength of everything in me.
all of it.
Yeah.
So I think we started, if I can remember correctly, I just started sharing how I went through therapy and had the therapist to actually tell me going through my divorce that some of the trauma I had gone through, I had caused myself. And just speaking on that particular example, how I would call my dad for everything and just let my ex know that he wasn't capable. That wasn't the verbiage I used, but in short, he wasn't capable
I'll need
of
you.
doing.
Yeah.
You can't do it, so I'm gonna go to who can, and that was me not knowing I was operating in severe masculine energy.
Yeah, because how would somebody feel like you're like, oh, well, you just don't need me, you don't feel like I'm worth anything, like, what is my value?
Absolutely.
And a lot of us women, we have a way of devaluing our men, like extremely.
Yeah.
And I know I've done it. And it's like, but the thing is, are you aware of it, or were you unaware and then somebody had to bring it to your attention?
Absolutely unaware.
Yeah.
Until that moment.
until you had
Until
that
that
conversation with your therapist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Until that moment where my therapist was like, "You don't see anything wrong with what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, you're bringing in your father into your marriage, and that's wrong.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to be doing that, and you're making your ex feel X, Y, Z." And it was like aha moment. Like,
Yeah.
oh wow, that's severe. That can be perceived as abusive.
Okay.
According to my therapist.
Do you know who Scheherazade Ali is? She's part of the nation, but I find her very profound because she speaks a lot, and she's had several books in the past, and she was very controversial for a lot of people because it's like basically telling us women that we really need to stop because we need to value our men, we need to re-uplift them because they're downtrodden by not just society, but we also added to it, right? But a lot of things that, what is the value of a man? They try to make it seem like our men are only valuable for monetary gains, but what do men bring to the table? And it's not just the table. Some of them build a table, but the emotional stability that they bring to the household, especially for children, because a lot of us have mommy and daddy issues. And we've seen those things play out at home or just in society. And it's like if we worked on rebuilding our just core, which is the family, especially the relationship between men and women. Because she said this one thing, it was so true. I feel like it's true. Black men and black women only seem to be okay while they sleeping with each other. But once the man gets up, we back to fighting.
That's powerful.
I was like, damn, she hit him.
But it's so funny. I don't even think that's necessarily an intimate relationship.
No.
Yeah, that can be
But
like in
any
relationship.
No.
The
The intimacy, we're good with that part. We love to have sex with each other. We love black men.
But I'm saying,
Look.
like, even if it's like,
Not
even if it's just friends or like relatives or
there's always
just
contention.
whatever,
There's always contention.
in most cases. In some,
So
absolutely.
what is your? Why do you think that is? I know I have my reasoning.
I have my reasons. I mean, do we want to talk about
Yes,
this?
this has got to talk. Talk about it. Look, they gonna be on there. Oh, hey boo, how you doing? My friend is on here. Oh, if I get him on here, it's gonna be a wrap.
I think that can stem back all the way to where we were enslaved people.
Mm-hmm.
I know there was an artist that had this whole like artistic storyline about how black women, especially during that time. We couldn't. Did you
Yes.
see that? Remember, it was so beautifully illustrated.
Okay, so if I'm thinking about the right thing, it's just basically the black woman was raped,
Yes.
and the man couldn't help her,
And if he did, he
and
would have died.
he would have died.
Right.
And so then it showed that the man tried to do something, and then he was either beaten or whatever, or hung up,
Right.
anything,
Mhm.
and she used her breast milk, to feed him. It's like,
Mhm.
so people have tried to use the narrative that even when y'all are at your worst, we're still always trying
Yeah.
to do
Right.
something. But then I think that people fail to recognize that the man did try to defend her,
Right.
and he was still punished for what he as a man was trying to do.
So that strips the role of
There we go.
protector.
Yes.
Right.
And then we talk about buck breaking, because I always talk about this, right? If you rape a man in front of his woman and child,
Yeah.
what do you think that does to the psyche?
Well, and that was intentional.
Of
We all know
course,
that.
we all
Yeah.
know that.
Right.
You talk about the,
Yeah.
Jim Crow, and you could talk about
But
Willie
that-
Lynch, all
That's
that.
even translated today when we look at what is shown on the news of our
Men just
black
slain.
men
Yes.
being slain, arrested,
Beaten.
or even just talked down. To,
Yes,
like,
within the job market.
Just even,
Yes.
any type of dialogue.
Yes.
And I do believe that those images and those I do believe it's intentional.
Yes.
Yeah.
I posted something on my Facebook, and those who know me personally know I go so hard for our guys, because guess what? And I said this, it was International Women's Day a couple days ago, and I was
Yeah.
like, man, F that.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, oh, you didn't post anything. I was like, because we do this every day, so I don't understand why. Not saying that, okay, having it is not important. I'm not going to say that. But and I talked to you, I was like, so how many days do we go about Black Girl Magic? How we do all these women empowerment stuff. Oh, my sister, how you doing, girls? Oh my gosh. Oh, how ladies, how you doing? We're always a good amount of us, I'll say that, always uplifting women. Do we take that same amount of care and intention and endurance to uplift our men? Can you say you do that? And I can say I go hard on both sides,
I
especially
will say
more so for ours.
that in my relationship now,
Mhm.
do I? Yes.
Mhm.
Prior to counsel, no.
Yeah. But why?
Why?
Yes.
Honestly, to be honest,
Let's be honest. If you feel comfortable being honest. Yeah.
It is what it
Yeah.
is. It's like,
No, because this is all about the healing
it
spot,
is.
right? Because when we're
Honestly,
hurt, we will not.
I just always felt like it. So even when I look at like my brother and my cousins that are like my brothers and my dad and my uncles, you see like they always have this,
Macho.
macho. So you don't really think about men having emotions.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think about men having emotions.
We'll
really don't
transition
express
to
it,
that
right?
soon. Yeah.
And go ahead and pour that out.
Yeah, I got to pour.
And so
This is some tea. Well, this is some sips.
It is. So, my daughter's on here. That's so cute.
Hey,
So,
is she old enough to drink?
Yeah, she's 20. She'll be 21 this year. And I see her little rosé thing, so I already know what she does. She's like her mama.
Cheers.
But,
Exactly.
cheers, Critterbug. But anyway, so I do think that has a lot to do with it. And also, too, during that time, I was mad. I was disappointed in our men, especially the men that I dealt with. So, and I also feel like, too, growing up as young ladies, we're always taught to protect ourselves. We're always taught, even something as simple, you don't sit on their lap. You don't do this. You don't do that,
Yes.
right?
Don't
So it's
provoke
kind of,
anything.
right. So we're kind of taught that. I think there's a lot of things that kind of teach us to kind of not look at men from that point of view. You know what I mean?
Because I know I was.
Yeah.
I just remember I was very rebellious. I was the biggest tomboy, but I was still, I love guys, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I just remember my dad always telling me, don't sit with the boys, don't do this, don't do that. I was just like, man, those kind of things,
But even
yeah.
if they did something,
Yeah.
like, suck it up.
Yes.
Toughen up.
Yeah.
Stop
And
acting like
boys
it,
don't cry. Boys don't
Yeah.
do this. And so now it's like we have an issue, especially with our men, who do not know how to emote.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we women also don't know how to emote, because when we talk about our chart placement, it took me really getting my natal chart. And shout out to Wisdom Selah. She's done a lot with David Banner and everybody, but I had her do my natal chart. And when I found out that my Venus was in Gemini, and I was like, I really went in and started, delving into it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so profound because the way that I wanted to be loved, I wasn't finding that. And so because I wasn't finding that, I wasn't able to even just it just never worked out. And I always wondered why. You know what I'm saying? So now it was like, oh, once I discovered and had my aha moment, it was like, well, this is how I want to be loved. And the most important thing is we need to know how to love ourselves that way.
Right.
If you're not loving yourself the way you truly want to be loved, no one can love you that way either.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because you have to love yourself thoroughly.
That's the truth.
And it's like we're constantly, and I feel like especially for us, what we've been trained as women is, you got to love the man, love the man, love the man. And take it.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, there's certain things to take and certain things not to. And that's vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Because women also abuse the hell out of our men.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're taking it and miserable in these relationships too. When are we going to love each other truly?
Right.
And I think the most important thing is for especially our men is that, and us especially, we need to love each other separately before we decide to go into relationships.
Absolutely.
Because everybody's just like, oh, I have to be in a relationship. I have to. And I'm Nigerian. They've been wanting this wedding for I don't know how long. The pressures of Nigerian weddings are real. So what kind of pressures do you feel society puts on us, especially as women, with our men?
Taking it, like you said, just not being realistic about defining what loyalty is. Loyalty does not mean you stay around for dysfunction and abuse. And that's on both ends, like you said, because again, I learned from my therapist that I was verbally abusive.
And there's emotional abuse.
Yes.
There is manipulation. There is, what is this word? I'm trying to remember. But you know how you're not the aggressor, but it's just like
Narcissist.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember because I followed this other person, Nas Khaled, on IG, but she was talking about how you can be quietly aggressive.
Oh, passive aggressive?
Passive aggressive.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But then you have passive manipulation.
And then you have,
passive manipulation. You have all these things where it's like you're trying to get somebody to do something, but you manipulate the way out of it. All right, so we're about to take our second break. We'll be right back. 813-444-9588. This is God is Talk. We'll be right back. If y'all have any comments, go ahead and drop them. Hey, Ascari, how you doing? Is this my personal page? Ugh. I swear this is my personal page again on my IG.
That's true.
This is annoying. I'm always doing this.
From day one.
All right, y'all. Go to my Afroganics page if you're on here. I think this is my personal page.
I want to taste that whiskey.
Okay.
Let's taste
Shot.
it so I can
Shot. We're gonna give her a little mini baby shot.
Just give me a little one.
A baby mini shot.
I know I'm
We're not responsible for it.
Right. Well, if I need to get picked up,
Liability.
Counsel's watching.
yeah. Is he watching?
He is on here.
Oh.
She said cheers.
You know where I am.
You want one too? Oh, we gonna take a shot. Let's take a shot.
Yeah, you gonna have some?
You want a baby shot or you want this shot?
real
All right, this is because I got the real shot.
You know they got a room full of guys down the way.
Okay.
All the alphas down there.
All the who?
Alphas.
Oh, I thought you said all the passes down there. I was like, what they got to do with
what
me?
does that have to do with
They
this
got
whiskey?
to do with me.
Alphas.
Look. All right, cheers, y'all.
Cheers. Cheers. Now, do we shoot this or do you sip it?
I'm shooting.
Up to
Oh,
you.
Mr. Darrell, you got your
I'm
shot.
good. I'm good. I'm just enjoying y'all.
Holy moly,
Woo!
holy.
You know, I'm actually.
Whoa.
You
Cheers.
know what? I'm actually
That's
watching the
strong.
show.
It is?
Yes.
I'm loving it.
Okay.
Are we back?
Oh,
Holy moly,
yes, we
holy.
are.
Cheers.
Hey, everybody, we are back. We just
They're not playing.
Yeah,
took a
this is
shot during our break.
strong.
Yeah.
This is the Uncle Nearest.
Uncle Nearest, it gives you a kick.
Thank you, Uncle Nearest.
Uncle Nearest was not playing when he taught anybody how to brew some whiskey.
Good
Is
Lord.
it brew? Is that what they
Hey,
do?
Don.
Brew whiskey? Whatever. Y'all, you know what the
Distill.
process is. Distill.
There it is.
Look, make
Whoa.
some whiskey.
I gotta get that.
Some Tennessee whiskey. All right, the Deep South. Counsel's like, oh my God, help me. Hey, Counsel, I am not responsible for this. It is my personal page. See, I messed up. Child, it's always something with me.
Okay.
But this retrograde has had us all, I think, about to pull our hair all the way out. All right, so back to our original conversation.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, child.
Start a watch party.
Okay.
Are you on Facebook? No, I'm the only one on Facebook.
Yeah.
All right, so the question before we went on break is, what do you think pressure society has put on us with our men, especially? And you were talking about that you felt that, what?
As we're raised, just the precautions that we need to take.
Mm-hmm.
So those, just putting that in your child's ear when you're telling them that something could be a threat. You know, that's just how I look at it.
Yeah.
Like, this could be a threat, or don't, not necessarily a threat, but I know my parents always told me the same thing. Don't sit in a man's lap, even if it's your
father.
uncle.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
You just don't do it.
Yeah.
And I don't consider myself daddy's girl, but when I look at all the pictures, you know, from as a child, like, I was the love of my dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was his number one, his first. Period. All right, and my mom's first too. So my siblings, I always tell them, I was like, look, they didn't make any mistakes here. I don't know why they kept going.
I like that.
So I was that older one who said, why'd y'all keep going? I just don't get it. But, you know, they are. I'm the oldest of 4, so they kept going. I'm like, look, what's up?
You already reached perfection.
I'm just
See, my
saying.
parents, I'm the third. I'm the last one.
Okay.
And I'm sure your oldest, you know, sibling feels the same way I feel. Like, what happened?
I'm sure she does.
So, the next thing, okay, so feminine energy.
Hold on, really
yes.
quick.
What's the question?
My daughter asked the question.
Yes,
she
what's
said,
up?
in the young community, I don't think we know how to encourage our men without boosting their head or ego. How do we fix that?
You gassing them up. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah,
They
you
gassing
gassing
them up. Their heads is swollen. The issue, I think, for all of us, and I think it still goes back to what happened in history, right? Let's just go to ancient history. We were equal.
Yes.
There was no differentiation.
Yeah.
There was no subordination, and it was actually a maternal. Okay, it's always been maternal. It wasn't a paternal way of things. Okay, it was a maternal way of things, and I believe, and we could research this even further, that with colonizing us, they had the paternal on their side, and then that influenced us, all right, and then was being into us, right? Because if we now want to go to the transatlantic and then slavery, right, only women were allowed certain things. The men were dogged out,
Yeah.
all right, and it was left to our women to try to keep the family together, all right, and then you get past slavery or that period, and then you get into Jim Crow, and what you get into another period where they're incarcerating our men, specifically. So that mass incarceration, you see, they keep doing it to our men, right? So now it's like, then what did the women have to do? So you want to keep your sons, so you don't masculinize them, because they may be seen as number one, absolutely threats. You know what I'm saying? So a mother will do what she can to protect her son. And she will do anything to protect her daughter too. But she's even more protective of the son because she knows what society's trying to do to him.
Which means she's taking on a role herself.
Yes. Right? So now when we think about all these guys who are mama's boys that we can't stand because the mama did this, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's look at the psychology of it. Let's always look. I'm the kind of person I always look behind the scenes than just, you know, because I've dealt with the mama's boys. My brothers, they're not mama's boys, but my mom is thoroughly their queen. You know what I'm saying? But they had me as their sister, masculine me, so I'm like their big brother. And I basically was like, look, this is what we gonna do, what we not gonna do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the big brother, sister, okay? So it was like, when you see that, you have to look a little deeper. And I always try to go through history, because history does repeat itself, right? So now when we come to the new age kids, look at the mothers of the kids, and then look at the parents of those kids, because they went through the crack era.
Absolutely.
Daddies were gone.
Yeah.
All right, so now they had these kids, you this, you that, because now look at this. Women saying, yeah, my son's my king, my son's my king.
Yes.
He's your king.
Yeah.
So who's the father?
Exactly.
What is the father? What is the man's role in your life?
What is your son's role?
Exactly.
It's like
Because
you
now,
son,
yes.
and an adult.
So you have this Oedipus complex with a lot of our men.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? When it comes to men even dealing with women, their
Yeah.
age, because to them, their mother is the epitome, and it's like, what are you? So now you try to uplift them and everything, but mom already either did it or didn't do it. So he might not know how to even receive it if you are that kind of queen who's trying to push him and, you know, uplift him and encourage him. Right? So when you got the ones with the big heads, don't mess with the ones with the big heads.
Don't mess with the ones with the big heads.
Trust me, I can tell you some things. All right, I've dealt with them. I've messed with the thugs, all those things. I've been there. Bloods, all them things. Dealt with them. All right, but eventually it just doesn't work out. You wonder why. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
also exhausting too.
It is.
That people's like.
I ain't gonna
egos
sell
and
some
making
stories,
them
but I
feel
have
good.
some stories. You know what I'm saying? It's very dangerous sometimes. And you can try to love someone through certain things, but unless the person wants to change themselves, there's nothing you can
It's
do.
nothing you can do.
So what you need to do is work on you.
Yep.
And once you uplift yourself, guess what?
The
It will
right
take the
one.
right person to
Yep.
come, and when he approaches you, you're gonna recognize him.
Yep.
Because he loving you the way you need to.
Yep.
The love languages that you have, that person is meeting all those languages.
You speaking from experience. Look
Telling you.
that
Look, that love language is
That
coming.
love language.
You better read the 5 love languages. But there's more love languages, I believe.
Yes.
So what do you think about that? Do you think what I'm saying, you know, you can always debate.
Yeah,
Nothing I'm saying is
No,
all
I definitely
100%.
do. I think a lot of mothers enable.
Yeah.
And I do think that it stems from fear,
Mm,
and not necessarily stem from love, because I genuinely believe it's something I read
yeah.
a couple of decades ago that we have 2 emotions, fear and love.
Yes.
Most of us operate under the emotion of love, fear,
Yes.
and not love.
Yes.
And when it's fear based, you are always doing things grasping. You know what I mean? Trying to hold on, trying to protect, trying to control. Trying to control something is fear based. That's not love.
Once you
You
let
know?
control go, and it's hard,
What happened when you let control go?
it's still a struggle day by day. No, because let's be honest, you know, certain things will trigger you to
Yeah.
kind of revert.
Yes.
But what you have to do is shadow work. That's why I really do love the people that I am, you know, allowing in my space, because that's why I said about killing the ego and working through certain things. But this thing called shadow work, where you really have to face all of your demons,
All of it.
the worst of the
All
worst
the
of you that
ugly, deep
nobody
stuff.
knows
Yep.
about.
Is it just your demons or is ancestral too?
No, it's ancestral. But the thing is, you have to work on you first before you
Yep.
can work backwards.
Before you
Far
can.
back.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because
Yeah.
because we talk about breaking generational curses,
Curses,
right?
yeah,
right.
But how can you do that if you just try to break them? But what are you dealing with right now?
Right.
But you have to understand, and you have to research, and you have to learn. Because the thing is, forgiving those who have done to you literally frees you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgiving my mother,
Yeah.
forgiving my father.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I had to forgive myself
Yes.
first.
Yeah.
First.
Forgive
Yeah.
you first, then forgive others.
And
Right?
to me, that was probably one of the hardest things.
Yes, because you think you're right. You do.
You know what? Though? It's not even like thinking I'm right. It's sometimes too just like when you realize the impact that you really had on somebody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't
It's
wanna
like,
break.
Are you deserving
I don't want to break.
of that forgiveness?
Yeah.
And then realizing
Yeah.
that you are deserving of that
Yeah.
forgiveness of yourself. We're always so willing to forgive
Forgive
others,
others.
and beg for forgiveness
Yes.
for other people.
Because
but
stop
we
apologizing.
Stop apologizing. Which we
We
talked
talked
that
about
on,
because
one of
yeah,
those. Yeah,
because you know we take on everybody else's emotions at
Yeah.
times.
yeah.
And this is not everybody, because there's some people who just don't. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? But I realized that I took other people's emotions and account for their stuff rather than accounting for myself.
yeah.
And then by the time I said, you know what? No, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
And literally freed myself. Especially because, you know, just growing up the way I grew up, right? It's like, okay, you always got your mom and your dad in the back of your head.
Yeah.
You always want to people please. You always want to do all this stuff. But once I said, you know what? I'm me.
Mm-hmm.
I operate from Balaji.
Right.
And not saying that I don't think about my parents or anything like that.
Mhm.
So if my dad is watching, which he usually does, pop in, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, I have, you know, worked on myself to be able to say, you know, what works for me and what doesn't.
Yeah.
And if something is just not mixing for us together, like my parents don't agree with something, we can discuss it. But I'm still going to be Balaji. You see what I'm saying?
It's the boundaries, but it also too.
It's the respect.
Yeah, go
first.
ahead, and then I'm gonna chime in.
You know what I'm saying? But it's still the fact that, you know what, but this works for me.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I'm doing, because I think I told you, I remember saying this to my mom, and I know you said it hurts as a parent when you hear something like that, but my salvation has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
And that, for a parent, is hard to hear.
It's true.
It's true.
It's very true.
But,
But
it's
kind of like what we're talking about, cords cutting.
Mhm.
Like our
Mhm.
children are literally parts of us.
yes.
Even though we've given birth and everything, like we intimately spent.
Not me.
Yeah, if that's what you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Almost a year learning this person growing inside of us.
Mhm.
So it's more than just a physical
Yeah,
connection.
absolutely.
It's literally
It's
a spiritual
spiritual.
connection.
Yeah, it's a
so
soul.
When you see like your child is not going on the path that you feel
Mhm.
is not right,
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily mean it, because we all grow
Yeah.
in different ways, right?
Yeah.
It hurts so
Yeah.
differently.
Yes.
And we were talking about this at the Starbucks, learning to get to know your children past adolescence and teenagers into young adulthood is a whole completely different relationship.
Yeah, it's a relationship each time. It's a new person each time.
It is a new transition. And my daughters and I, they're 20 and 22 now. And one of the things in the past year that I had to kind of learn is how to love them and be a parent to them as young women and not as little girls. So that way they don't have to fight.
When my mom told me,
so different.
child, I remember this day. My mom told me, she's like, I want us to be, like sisters. And I was like, what? Yo,
Sis.
who you talking to? First of all, I can't tell you nothing without you going somewhere and say something else. So, hell no. But now we're good, you know what I'm saying? But at that time, at 21, 22, nah, you stay in your mama's place.
Yeah.
You remember this one joke, it's like, yeah, I ain't one of your little friends. You ain't one of my little friends, so no.
Right.
You ain't gonna be nothing but mama.
Right.
But now it's like, nah, I call her, I'll just tell her whatever. And the thing my parents and my mom especially is like, they know my dirt. So if somebody decided to call Balaji, Balaji was saying this, or Balaji did this, or Balaji dressed like this. Well, yeah.
Balaji's grown. Right.
And it's just be like, she might call me and say she doesn't like this or whatever, but not going to change anything.
Right.
But it's just still the respect. You know what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of people have lost respect. I feel like
you mean for their parent?
For themselves.
Oh, hell yeah.
And especially for those elders.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And one thing I do is like I always try to pay homage. Like no matter what, you always say like, nah, the one thing I don't do, you don't play that. I don't play that. You know what I'm saying?
You're not disrespectful. You can express yourself without being disrespectful.
Absolutely. But then elders, everything's not a disrespectful act
That's
or conversation.
But you gotta
Pause
think about,
yourself too.
You gotta think about where they came from.
Exactly.
Yes.
But
We
see,
were
I always come from an understanding.
Right. But at that
Y'all baby
time,
boomers, we
they were
working
taught
on y'all.
Be seen,
I
not
love
heard.
them.
I was raised to be seen, not heard. Our kids ain't taking that.
Yeah.
Right.
They
So
walk up
our
on
kids are like, I'm being seen.
you remember that
I'm
little
being
boy that
heard,
walked up on
and all
us
that.
at the Starbucks?
Right.
Disgusted. I was like, who his parents?
Speaking of us,
Have
But-
a nice life.
right.
He said
Yeah.
that. That was so disrespectful.
Listen, and guess what? I didn't even hear that because I don't.
That's why
We
I
cancel all the
I cancel
negative,
all that kind of
demonic
stuff, right?
energies away. We ain't gonna tell you what he was. but
We're not gonna go into our Starbucks
Mm.
encounter at all, y'all. That's
It
another.
was real.
That's another one.
It's a real one.
There was one of my friends and I were talking about that. I guess it's a reality show with Damon Dash, and his son called him a liar. He kept calling him a liar, and a lot of people were like, "Well, he was lying." Da 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 da. And
Back in the day, they got you punched in
and
the
that's
face.
what we're saying.
Down.
You can say that your parent is not speaking the truth without calling them a liar repeatedly.
And then this is another thing. I don't like reality TV. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't, because people don't know how to communicate,
Mm-hmm.
and that is being shown, especially out there, right?
Yeah, it is.
Because the thing is, if I had an issue with you, we would talk about it.
Right.
I don't need a camera to do that.
Or a glass to be thrown.
You
at
see what I'm saying? I don't need a drink toss. We got glasses here.
Yeah.
I've seen
But
so
we're
many
drinking out
things
of
like
glasses.
just toss.
Yeah.
toss.
Yeah. Come on.
What?
That's so disrespectful.
First of all, not Balaji in any way, shape, or
That
form.
good rum punch.
Not look. Shout out to the rum puncher. But we've devalued ourselves in such a way that I don't even. Not saying I don't know how to get back to it, but I think we have to come from a place of love, like for real, for real. We got to heal so deeply.
Yeah.
So deeply.
But you just said something dynamic too. When we first started, we were asking like how the roles between masculine and feminine. Communication is huge.
Absolutely.
Come into a balance, because I feel like all of us eventually learn the balance between, especially the aggressive masculinity that we have and that we've been taught and that we've been shaped into. We've been shaped into some very masculine ass women.
Well,
you were talking about that little survey.
Yes.
Talk about that survey.
Well, it was an article.
But you go through it.
It's like 10 questions.
Yeah.
And as I went through each one, I'm like, yep, I do that. Yep, I do that. Yep, I do that. Like all 10 of them.
Pop that bottle.
Right.
Right on. You heard that.
And I realized, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm not going to say this on air, but like, I
can't say that it's not, but because the thing is, I've said it about myself a lot. I'm an N-word. I'm the N-est of the N in the world. Like, you couldn't tell me nothing. What's up? And the thing is, when you talking to a dude, he don't want to be with another.
It's so unattractive.
You talking to a man,
right?
He don't want to be with another man.
It's unattractive.
Yeah.
To be with someone who. But you know what? Let's go back to what we're taught, right? So. And I think I shared this with you guys. I was a single mother for 14 years.
So I have a question. Were you a single mother with no father being involved at all?
He was not present.
Okay, because now
it's a difference.
There's a difference. Yes.
Please
make that. I hate that. Talk it.
You can be separated from your children's father and you still co-parent.
I hate when people say they're single parent, but the father is so involved that, dang, how do you discredit somebody like that?
You're a single woman with children. Or a single
father with children.
No, we did not co-parent.
Okay. Tell it, please. I just want to make sure that was clear.
I feel like there's a huge difference between that, and I think it's very, and this is my opinion, whether you agree or not, I feel like it's very disrespectful when people say, oh, I'm doing this, I'm a single parent, and yet you still have an active co-parent. It's disrespectful to your kids, and it's disrespectful to the
father. Yeah, the parent. Yeah.
And I'm going to say co-parent because that can go
either way. Yes.
Right. And
there's some trifling behind moms out here.
That's why I say you go both ways, because I've met both.
It's a lot.
I've met trifling fathers and I've met trifling mothers. I was the very definition of a single mother. So I had to boss up, and that's how. And I remember the very day I'm looking at both of my daughters. They were 4 and 2. And I realized it's us.
That's it.
This is it. It's the three of us, and nothing's gonna break this. And I remember that day. I remember the physical change in myself, as far as like I got y'all. You know what I mean? Like no matter what. Yeah. And I did. I had to be the very, and I could never be their father. Yeah. I can just be the best mother. Yes. I could possibly
and
be.
Honor that, because I really do. When Father's Day comes around, yeah, I'm the father and the mother. Be back all the way the hell up.
Yeah.
You can never.
You can't be a father.
You're not a man.
Right.
You are a womb. We talk about the womb man. And we could go into other things if you want to talk about it. But you are not a man. Right. Genetically, that's not you. Emotionally, that's not you. Spiritually, that's not you, because there's a lot of downloads that men can give their children and women give their children. Right. But that's not who you are. Right. Honor the womb. Honor who you are completely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But in those cases, like, I did things that I did everything for.
Yeah.
Right? And so when my partner, when he came along,
shout out to counsel.
Shout out to counsel.
I love counsel.
And so he's the complete opposite of anything I've ever known. Right? And so to have somebody, and by then I've done the work on myself, right?
Yes.
So
who call it? I want to see. Ooh, this is somebody call it. Like, hold up. This is Goddess Talk. Who's on the line?
Hi, hey Joe.
Hey Joe. No, hold on. Is this Patrick? Who is this? Who's Joe? Oh, hey Joe.
Hey Joe.
Thank you for calling. Yes. Because like I said, I honor our women, right? But there's a deep honor I have for our reverence that I have for our men. Number one, not just because my father was in my life. Me and my father, we weren't close like that growing up. You know what I'm saying? We had to battle it out to get to where we are. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, we are, you know what I'm saying? I've always had a reverence for the masculine, you know what I'm saying? And that's probably why I embody the masculine so much. So I was like, nah, y'all not going to talk about our men, you know what I'm saying? Because I embody that. But what I had to learn was a balance, right? And thank you so much, Joe. You were just, anything else you want to add to it, please? Yes. Personally, I'm going to say this, right? And I was just talking to somebody about this. Money was never a factor for me. It wasn't. Because personally, I needed the emotional love from a man. I needed a mental. I needed all this other stuff. The financial wasn't my deal breaker. Because I've dated people who literally had nothing. But what did they bring to me? You see what I'm saying? So that was where I was always at. Because I was talking to my dad a couple years ago. We were just driving. And, you know, my dad, he wants his daughter to be happy. And he's just like, oh, because when I dropped out of my doctorate, oh, man, he's like, so this is going to free you up to do all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, I guess. But we were having a conversation. And he was like, so what's the deal? I was like, my issue is that I would hope that whoever I'm with is okay with me really going out here making all these trips. Because I travel a lot. You know what I'm saying? Being just all over the place, doing all this stuff, but knowing that when I come home, I really do leave my boss, SHIT, out there. You know what I'm saying? I leave that out there because when I'm here, I'm here for us. You see what I'm saying? I literally, it's not, so this is the one word I always used to hate, submission. Because submission is two ways. It's not just one way. You know what I'm saying? And I told my dad, I was like, yo, I really fear that, you know, a lot of men themselves would have an issue with how much I make because it's always been an issue for me. I've been the one who really is doing a lot of stuff and they weren't. But I was like, what do you want to do? All right, let's do this. I'm everybody's biggest fan. I think you see me.
You are.
I'm everybody's biggest fan. And even still, when I'm with someone, I'm even more of their fan. You know what I'm saying? So it really always, I felt, bothered them, not me, when it came to the finances. What about you?
I've never been with a broke guy.
Hello.
You never been with a broke guy?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Darrell got something to say. What you got, Mr. Darrell? 1 minute. Is CJ here? Because I feel like until CJ comes in.
On your question,
I want CJ to interrupt us.
I've never specifically focused on someone.
It's okay. No,
As
just
far
transition.
as
Okay.
As far as what they financially can bring to the table, it's been a balance, similar to like Balaji said. A balance as far as how can we both submit to each other, and then when you reach that point, when you have that balance, you can build together.
That's
true.
Yeah.
I've always focused on not what you can do for me financially, but what we can do as a unit.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, honestly, I've never.
Yeah.
I just.
Yeah.
No, and that's cool.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because everybody has walked their own different walk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But they all have their own opinions. But does that answer your question from 3 different perspectives, Joe? He's gone? Okay, cool.
Sorry, Joe.
All right, Joe. So we're about to end Goddess Talk. But before I end Goddess Talk, right, I want to shout out to the shirt that I'm wearing. I'm wearing my Authentically Me shirt. Shout out to Creative Concepts. I don't know if you can do that. But shout out to Creative Concepts, Authentically Me. They'll be dropping some other brands. Hey. So Authentically Me, if y'all want to check it out, Creative Concept or creativetees.com, KREATIVETEES.com. You can get your Authentically Me shirt. All right. So this is Goddess Talk. We've had all these brands. I want to shout out the brands real quick. We have Duke and Dane, Uncle Nearest, The Red Lady, Shoe Crazy. These are all and Blue Water. Oh my gosh, Blue Water.
Okay.
All right, black owned here in Tampa. And shout out to all these black brands. You know how I do. Afro-Organics and Goddess Talk. This is Balaji. We will see you next week, Thursday.
That went by
Y'all have
so
a
quick.
great week. All right. Peace.
All right. Y'all have a good night.